What's up, guys? Welcome to the first episode of Beyond the Mats podcast. My name's Ethan Dracia, and I'm here with.
This is Austin Clayton.
All right, we'll hop in with this first question I got. So, just before we get into the fights and training, who was Austin Clayton before mixed martial arts?
Man, Austin Clayton was, just I would like to say a good kid, a curious kid who, is just a absolute competitor, just always wanted to be the best in everything he did. Played every sport that, you could think of and super active, always playing with his friends, but, you know, grew up, loved wrestling, loved WWE, all that stuff. And just grew up in a blue collar household where I got to see a lot of hard work and dedication from my parents, and it translated over into my sports and athletic life. So
Awesome, man. The next question I had for you was what really made you walk into a gym for that first time? Was it just like curiosity, frustration, or was it like something deeper?
I would say when my first time stepping into an MMA gym is it was always on my mind since the day I started wrestling. I knew that wrestling was going to be the base to my MMA career, and I grew up and I used to always go downstairs into the basement and watch my dad. He would be watching the fights like from the very beginning. You got Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell, just some of the OGs, and he would always ask me if that's what I wanted to do, and I always told him I definitely did want to do that. And so like I said, when I started wrestling, I always knew I had a bigger vision than just wrestling. I wanted to use the wrestling to become an MMA fighter. So when I stepped foot into the MMA gym, I knew, what the reason was and the purpose behind it, and I just wanted to, start my career, and I was ready to, put myself in an uncomfortable position to do so.
That's awesome. So by the time you pretty much stepped into an MMA gym, you were already built your mindset to pretty
It
much.
was all set. Yep, I was ready to go. I knew exactly where I wanted to be and who I wanted to be.
Most people, I feel like they just go in there not knowing what to expect, and like kind of get a rude awakening, So that's pretty cool to hear that you were locked in from years before you even stepped into a gym.
Yeah, no, definitely. I grew up. I loved Floyd Mayweather. He was a boxer. And man, I always wanted, like, I would be wrestling and I always just ask my dad if I could start boxing, if I could start MMA, all this stuff. But he would make me focus on wrestling at that time because he as well knew that wrestling was the best base. And so it was just a matter of time until I was able to step foot and, start chasing that dream and that goal.
Yeah, that's really cool too. Wrestling, I feel like, is something that's pretty important for like high school, middle schoolers. That's one thing I really regret not doing wrestling in middle school and high school.
Yeah, that same with my dad. He wouldn't do it because of the singlet. He thought it was a little bit sus, but I did too actually in the beginning. But I mean, once you started, it's like it's crazy because when I started wrestling, I sucked so bad. I had to be probably one of the worst wrestlers of all time. But there was something about it that I loved, and it was the fact that on all I was always good at every other sport that I tried, but wrestling just wasn't natural. It was something very hard to do, and I love that, the only way you could get better is through hard work. You didn't really have to rely on anybody else. You could show up every single day and the hard work would pay off. And, I fell in love with that aspect of like being an individual sport.
This might be a little bit of a tough one, but if you hadn't found fighting, what do you think you would be doing right now?
Man, no doubt about it. I would be a business owner of some sort. I don't really see myself in, the corporate world and working for somebody else. It's not really, you know, the way I like to go. I like doing things my way and I like putting a lot of faith into myself. So, in some form or fashion, the only person I would work for is my dad, and that's just because I would be, adding on to the legacy of our family name. But really, I'd probably, start my own business of some sort. Uh, I'm very I just love a challenge and I love problem solving and I love just building. I guess you could say just building, and it's nothing better than a entrepreneurial like path. It's just always been the way that I've always wanted to go. And then in high school, I went to a trade school and I actually ended up going for like entrepreneurial. Like that was like the reason why I went to that trade school. It was I didn't go for HVAC or anything like that. I went for entrepreneurial studies. So it was that's always been in the back of my mind. And after my career, I definitely see myself in some form or fashion owning some type of business. I have tons of ideas, but it's just hard to go all in on any of that right now because I'm all in on MMA. So
Yeah, no, and that completely makes sense why you've been excelling so much in the MMA game this far, just because you do get to build off of yourself and your own image and what you put out there on social media, and you control all of that. Like you pretty much build yourself from the ground up.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a hard route to take, but no risk, no reward. So I like to look at it like that. I feel like, the harder I work, the more I'll be rewarded, and I'll take that because I feel like I can outwork anybody.
Yeah, I love it. I feel like that's definitely a great outlook to have. And I saw recently all over your Instagram, you just took a short notice fight. Can you go a little bit more into the prep behind that and how that went?
Yeah, man. I think being able to take a fight on 4 days' notice against a 31 professional fight veteran who fought on Dana White Contender Series and Bellator and Ryzen and many other big promotions, I think it's just a testament to my lifestyle and the hard work that I put into this sport. Because a lot of people can't take a fight on 6 days' notice. They can't make the weight. They're not in shape. They're not ready to go, and they're not confident, right? But I had everything. I was able to make weight. I was in shape. I was confident, ready to go. I believe in my skills, but that's because I live in the gym. This is my lifestyle, and I knew the risk when taking the fight, but I also knew the reward. And it's been 9 months. Before this fight, I was on the shelf for 9 months at 26 years old in my prime, right? And I couldn't get an opponent. I've had multiple opponents pull out. I've had literally multiple, like so many opponents just say no straight up. And then, it's just getting a hard time or having a hard time getting a fight. And, I found out this guy was willing to fight me. He was supposed to be my toughest test to date. And I ended up making it look pretty easy because, that's what I work for. And it's never guaranteed, but, my hard work and preparation, it paid off for sure in this last fight.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think we mentioned that in there. That I think it was 22 seconds, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Anaconda choke in 22 seconds. That's
Yeah. One of
awesome,
the
man.
fastest submissions in middleweight history.
That is awesome. I actually had my first blue belt tournament. I had an anaconda choke that kind of looked just like that. I thought that was
Yep.
crazy. I thought that's why I texted you. That was my favorite submission.
It's the best, man. It's the best. It goes so natural with wrestling. We work that front headlock all the time. So whenever I first started training MMA and jiu-jitsu, it's something that I picked up really quick, and I sort of perfected it in my own way. So I definitely love it, and there's no better feeling because when you have it. And that's
Oh yeah,
in the fight. I was looking at my dad. My dad's telling me, "Don't let go."
yeah.
I told him, I said, dude, it's good. It's good. I got it. Like I'm talking to him just like any other day. It was
Oh
it was
yeah.
pretty funny.
Yeah, that was an awesome clip to watch. I recommend everyone go check that out on his Instagram. I'll link that at the end of the episode if you guys haven't. But that was a really cool highlight to see. I know you've kind of already gone into your background in wrestling, but and I saw you went to ASU, correct, for D1 wrestling.
Yes.
So I just wanted to see if you could dive in a little more into your background, how it is wrestling D1. The level of guys that you've probably had to go against is way more than the average wrestler.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So starting back when I started wrestling, like I said, I was probably one of the worst wrestlers to ever step foot on the mat. I mean, I swear it didn't get much worse than me. But I worked my butt off every single day. I loved it so much, and I gave it my all, and I ended up becoming a state champion my senior year of high school. I placed, I want to say it was fifth, third, and then I won my senior year. So ended up placing 3 years, and then I went off to Arizona State, which at the time was a top 12 program in the country. And then every single year I was there, we were top seven in the country. I was behind one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, Zahid Valencia, for the first 2 to 3 years. And then I got some good time my senior year. I still had 2 more years left in college to continue wrestling, but I knew I wanted to start MMA. So I didn't achieve everything that I set out for when it came to college wrestling, but the base and the foundation that it gave me, and the chip on my shoulder that it put on, because there's not many times where I don't achieve the goals that I set out for myself. So knowing that I fell short in some of my goals in college, it definitely fired me up, and it's been motivating my MMA career since. And it's the best because wrestling's the hardest sport in the world, man. It's you versus the other guy, and it's a 7 minute sprint. It teaches you everything about life all in 7 minutes. So, I couldn't have done it without that. I chose to go to Arizona State because they were a complete, different style than the way that I wrestled. They were very like athletic and had a lot of finesse, and I was a scrambler and a grinder. And so it was good to have like a contrast in styles. And, I wouldn't trade those years for the life of me. Even though I still had 2 more years left on the table, I always wondered like what I could have done in those 2 years. But it's gonna pay off because those years that I got in to MMA already, it's only been 3 years, and I'm on a trajectory like no other right now. So
I feel like that definitely gives you like one of the best bases for going into MMA, just coming out of a program like ASU and having all that wrestling and your mindset of this is what I'm gonna do, and then going out and doing
yeah,
that.
it's like a safety blanket, and I think you know, for me personally, learning the striking and boxing and the jiu-jitsu, all of that has come pretty easily. Definitely got to work hard, but it's pretty natural to me. But man, I see people who have never wrestled in their life, and they're incredible strikers. They're incredible boxers, kickboxers, Muay Thai fighters. Wrestling is very hard to learn the older you get because it's just so unorthodox and unnatural to our bodies. So seeing these guys, try and pick up wrestling at 20, 25 years old, sometimes it's funny because it's just so unnatural to them. Where for me, learning boxing and striking, it comes pretty natural because I feel like it is just definitely something more normal for a human being to do.
Yeah, totally, totally. A lot of fighters talk about pain, pressure, and sacrifice. For you, what's been like the hardest part of this lifestyle?
I would say the sacrifice, because as much as I love this sport and I love what I do, I'm leaving so much on the table because I don't do this sport for money. If I wanted to make money, I could. I have so many different routes I could go. I could go work with my dad. I could go start my own businesses. I have all the ability in the world, so I'm leaving a lot of money on the table. I'm sacrificing a ton of time because everywhere I go, I'm always looking to train. I always need to eat right. Always need to be on top of my weight. So I'm just sacrificing so much of my life, but it's just because when I'm 75 years old, I want to sit back on that rocking chair and I want to be happy with my life decisions. And, being an athlete, you only get a small window in life to be. I could be a business owner at 20 years old or 80 years old, but you can't be an athlete at 80 years old. In MMA, you're lucky to make it to 35 if you're one of the best. So really, I got about 9 years left in my career, and then it's on to being like a normal person. So, it's I sacrifice so much, but I truly do feel like when my career is over, it's all going to be worth it because I'm going to do something that so many people wish that they could do, wish they had the opportunity to do, or wish that they weren't scared to go out and try and do. Uh, and I think that's going to give me fulfillment throughout life, and that's just what I'm looking for. I know money is great and it's a great tool, but it's not the key to happiness. It's just I just want to maximize Austin Clayton, and I think it starts with a successful MMA career.
Definitely build your name up, and then like you said, build a brand off of that once later on in your career, like you get so big, you make a business off of that, or however, whichever
Yeah,
way you
like
just.
people they don't get it. Like a lot of people don't understand. It sounds like you definitely understand it, but you're not really going to make the most money off of fighting itself. It's the platform that
Yes,
organization like the UFC gives you, right? They give you a name and a brand, and then
it's
you
what
can do
you
whatever you
do.
want from there. I can sell a hydration drink. I can start a gym. I could. There's so many things I could do because people become involved into who Austin Clayton is, and it's
Yeah,
because of the marketing machine of the UFC. You know what I mean?
exactly. And it definitely seems like just by checking out your YouTube, like it seems like you definitely get that too. Like everything's like high quality, like documentation of behind the scenes of everything. And I feel like that's a lot of things fighters don't really understand, just going to show up and fight. But like you said,
It's
that's
so
not,
much bigger than that. Yep.
yeah, that's not where all the
And
money
a lot
is.
of them when they start, it's hard to relate to them because I'm showing people from the very beginning, right, from my very first pro debut fight. So you get to see like all the bumps and the bruises and the learning curve, and people are going to look back when I'm in the UFC shortly, and I'm climbing up the ranks, and people are starting to hear the name of Austin Clayton. They're going to be able to look back on my videos, and they're going to be able to see the very beginning and just see that it's possible for anybody, right? If you work, I'm just a regular person, right? Uh, and if you work hard and commit yourself to something, the possibilities are limitless. There's no limit to anybody. Anybody could be whoever they want. And I know that because of my dad. My dad, grew up in very poor circumstances, had very little, and, made a fortune and has done so well for himself and is so successful. And it's because he's never worried about anybody else. He's just worried about building himself and working hard. And, he's not counting other people's pockets. He's not worried about what they're doing. He's worried about what he's doing. And I just try and bring that same mindset to MMA. and I believe it's going to pay off in the long run. I'm definitely thinking bigger picture for sure.
I love that outlook. And just from like an outsider's point of view, from me, just like not knowing you that long, it definitely, like, I can feel you're putting off that energy. Like, it's definitely more than just fighting for you.
No, most definitely, bro. Thank you, bro.
You're out in Las Vegas, correct?
Yes.
So I just wanted to ask what a lot of people probably think about MMA fighters out in Las Vegas. How do you stay so focused and disciplined when Vegas offers so much chaos and distraction?
Man, it's definitely not the place for everybody. That's for sure, because there is so much going on in terms of, I mean, everything. You can do anything you want out here, right? But luckily for me, I just something clicked when I was young, and I realized I never wanted to drink, never wanted to smoke, never did none of that stuff. Didn't really party that much. Was never a really big partier. Um, I've just always had this dream in my mind, and this is the only thing that I want. So it's pretty simple for me, honestly. I'm a man of God, and I like to, live out my faith, and in doing so, I just feel like, the best thing that I could do to glorify God is to, give my all to my craft, and hopefully inspire others to do the same in whatever they do, and uh, yeah, it's for me. Vegas could be really good or really bad. It depends on how you want to go about it. But for me, it's a blessing. It has everything I need. This is the fight mecca of the world. 50% of UFC events are here in Las Vegas, so there's so much opportunity. I get to train at the Performance Institute. I get to train at Extreme Couture. I get to train with all types of guys. I have everything that I need, and it's a blessing, man. It's truly not hard at all for me. But for the wrong person, it could be a very hard place. There's a lot of drinking, a lot of prostitution, a lot of strip clubs, a lot of alcohol, drugs, everything in between. So it
Yeah.
really just depends on you and your own personality. But for me, it's been a blessing.
No, that's awesome to hear that you're kind of immune to that kind of stuff.
Yeah, 100%. It's all in your mindset and your lifestyle. If you're a type of person that likes to be in the mix and wants to, you know, always be doing something, partying, drinking, smoking, then Vegas might not be your place. You might be better in a small town where you can stay away from that stuff. But, if you're laser focused, self-disciplined and self-motivated like myself, I think that Vegas can be a great place to, achieve all your dreams because it has everything that you need to be a great MMA fighter. You know what I mean?
And that's one thing I kind of wanted to jump into more was your gym, Extreme Couture. Could you just go in a little more about when you started training there and kind of how that's been going?
Yeah, so I just made the switch. I was training out of Kill Cliff in South Florida, which was an amazing time. It was a blessing to train there and train alongside my teammates and my coaches down there. But I do have a daughter on the way, and I knew we wanted to get closer to family. So my family's in Arizona. My wife's family is in California. So we decided to go, right smack in the middle in Las Vegas. We're about 4 hours away from both. And Extreme in Las Vegas has been amazing for me. You have unlimited training partners. I get to train with guys like Chris Curtis, Sean Strickland, Brad Tavares, all these guys. You have great coaches, Roman Isbell, Dennis Davis, Eric Nixick. The list goes on. You have an all-in-one gym like Extreme Couture. You have these little specialized gyms like these boxing gyms, and then 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, which is one of the best sport jiu-jitsu programs here, not only in Las Vegas but in the world. And it's been amazing, man. Like I said, it has everything I need. I have the highest level training partners. I have the best resources, the best coaches. And for somebody like me, like I said, who's self motivated and disciplined, and I'm very structured on my own. I don't need that structure from somebody else telling me what to do. It's a great place for me, but it is also easy to get lost if you don't have structure, or if you need someone to be watching over you, because you're a full grown adult out here. You know what I mean? No one's going to tell you what to do, what to show up for. They're there if you need them. And if you're there to be used, they can help you. But if you're not there, that nobody's going to be, calling you saying, "Hey, where were you at a training today?" You know what I mean? So definitely got to stay focused and locked in. But Vegas has been amazing. Extreme's been amazing. It's been awesome.
Thank you for going in more in depth on that. That's awesome. But I heard you mentioned you were having a daughter on the way. I just want to say congratulations. I saw on your Instagram, September, correct?
Yes, September 15th is supposed to be the due date. Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, I have a son coming on the way. November 10th is the due date.
Oh,
So,
God bless you, bro. That's
oh,
amazing.
awesome. Thank you. Knowing you've got a little one coming on the way, has that really changed the way that you train, fight, or even carry yourself day to day?
Man, it truly has. And it's all been for the better. Like I said, I'm already self motivated. I have so much ambition and hunger in this sport, but now there's just a different, because it's no longer just for me. My whole life, this has always been just for, for Austin, right? It's been my own dream, but now somebody else is going to be relying on me to achieve these goals and these dreams, to provide for them. So, when I met my wife, we were very, direct on what we wanted, and we wanted the same thing. And just 7 months later, we got married, and we ended up having our daughter come a few months after that. And so now our daughter's on the way, and man, the motivation is sky high. It doesn't matter what life throws at me. I'm gonna figure it out, because this little girl, I haven't even met her yet, but she means everything to me, and I cannot wait to be able to provide for her, protect her, and show her the way of the world. And I'm so excited. It's you can't even put it into words, the motivation that it is. And again, like I said, I haven't even met her yet, so I can't even imagine when she comes into this world and she's walking around, and it's going to be such a blessing. I'm sure you feel the same way.
I didn't know. I was going to say it's definitely a very exciting time. And I feel like that's really one of the deeper meanings in life, like fatherhood and just like creating a life. And I feel like that's such a blessing to have and be able to be a part of.
I agree with you. It's the purpose of life. Like all like MMA, all this career, everything is all good, but none of it means nothing if you. I mean, the whole point in this earth is to reproduce and teach. Hopefully, we teach our kids to be better than us, because that's what my parents did for me. You know what I mean? My parents gave me 10 times the opportunities that they had as a kid. So now it's my goal to do the same for my kid, and give her endless opportunities to be whoever she wants to be, and show her that all is possible with hard work and faith in God. So
I know you mentioned you were having a daughter. Would you like her to kind of be into fighting or jujitsu or combat sports, or are you secretly hoping she picks a little safer path?
I go back and forth. I don't know. I think truly whatever she wants to do, I'm going to let her do, as long as she works hard at it. Um, I think MMA is so great on so many levels, but it's also so brutal. It teaches you life in such a short amount of time, because life is going to chew you up, spit you out, and just brutalize you, right? And you got to learn how to get up. You can't stay down. Even if you lose a fight, you got to get up. There's so many great fighters that we know. I mean, you look at Dustin Poirier this past weekend. He's lost many times, but he's still one of the best fighters on planet Earth. Why? Because he kept on getting up, right? So I love the idea that MMA teaches you pretty much what life is going to be like, and how tough and resilient you need to be. But at the same time, it is a brutal sport. You live your life like always hurt. Like there's always something wrong. You know what I mean? I'm always, for being someone as healthy as I am, I always got some type of injury, something wrong with me. There's always something wrong. And just the risks that you take in the sport. Some people look at it and don't really think much of it, but I mean, really, every time we step into that cage, we're risking our life, and we're risking our health and everything in between. So there's going to be long-term consequences no matter how good you are, because it's inevitable that you get hit in the head. And uh, so it's one of the things, if she really wants to do it and she works hard at it, I'll support her 100%, and I would like it. But at the same time, I don't know. I would like her to just be, you know, a cute little girl just over there on the side and just enjoying life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. I mean, that's kind of how I feel too. It's like the only thing we really could do is just support what they want to do 100%. And I feel like that's the best thing for
Yeah.
them, is just support whatever they want to do. But I completely understand. I hear some people like, "Oh, I totally want to make my kid do MMA, do jujitsu," but if that kid's not really enjoying it, it's more for the
No,
father at that
definitely
point.
not if they don't like it. If you're
Yeah,
half in, half out, you need to be all the way out, because this is
yeah,
not the place to be a little bit in and a little bit out. You need to be
yeah.
all in if you want to do it.
I completely agree. Looking ahead at your career, when you think about where you want to be a year from now, what does that picture kind of look like to you?
And it's clear as day, man. I want to be in the UFC. I know it's my time. I'm 5-0, 5 finishes, 4 finishes in the first round. Like I said, I have the fastest middleweight submission, and what would be UFC history on UFC Fight Pass as well. I I'm so ready. It's been a lifetime of work, and I hope to see myself in the UFC and starting to get some wins, and climbing the ranks on my way to, God willing, getting a belt. That's the only way I see it.
I feel like taking that short notice fight, most guys don't want to do that. And like the more willing you are, like you have been in the past, the more willing you are to take that short notice fight, the more likely that call is willing to come.
100%. Yeah, it's just I've been trying to prepare myself for the UFC in every type of way since I started my career. So all of these opportunities are just experiences. I've took another fight on 10 days notice. This one on 4 days notice. I've had opponents fall out. I accept the last minute guy. I just look at it all as an experience to get me ready and build me up for the UFC, because anything that happens now in the regional scene doesn't really matter. It's all going to matter once I get into the UFC, and my goal is to not just make the UFC. I truly believe that it's inevitable that I get into the UFC. I want to have a successful UFC career, which is not promised, but I just believe through hard work, dedication, and my faith in God, it's gonna come together. And it's only a matter of time. I guess we'll see.
It seems like you're on that trajectory, like the right path to be exactly where you want to be.
No, definitely.
A lot of guys really want to make it, but what does that actually mean to you? Is it like the belt, the paycheck, the respect, or is it something else completely?
I mean, the superficial answer to that would be the belt, right? That's the only reason why I'm in this game, is I want to be the best. I want to be number one. But really, I ask myself all the time, what would I be happy with? I just want to be the best Austin Clayton that I could be, right? I'm not Hamzat Chimaev. I'm not Ilya Topuria. I'm not Max Holloway. I'm not any of these guys, right? So I can't. All I could be is Austin Clayton. So whatever Austin Clayton is meant to be, whatever God has planned for me, I'm gonna work my absolute hardest to maximize my potential as a human being and as an athlete. And whatever God has in store for me, I'll be happy with. I just don't want to. I don't want to come to the end of my life and God tell me, Austin, you were supposed to be this, and it's because I didn't work hard enough, or I didn't believe, or I didn't try, or I wasn't scared to take the risk. I never want to, live a life of shoulda, woulda, coulda. I want to try, and I'd be more than happy to try and fail than to never try at all. So I just want to be the best Austin Clayton that I could be, and I'll be happy with that, truly.
That makes me excited to watch your career. That fight on Thursday was the first fight of yours that I've seen, and it was just exciting. I know there wasn't much of it to watch, but highlights.
Yeah, it was more walking out in the post-fight interview, but it was still pretty fun.
Yeah, Austin, man, before we close it out, you've got a lot on your plate right now, big goals in the cage, and even bigger responsibilities coming up with fatherhood. For the people just now turning into your journey, what's one thing that you want them to remember about you after this episode?
Oh man, one thing I want them to remember is, I would say, hopefully, I hope that I can inspire people to just try and be who they're supposed to be and who God planned them to be, and whatever that is. Not everybody's supposed to be a champion. Not everybody's supposed to be a millionaire. Just be the best version of yourself. Help others. Live a godly life, and I think that's if you could do that, and if you could see that off of me and be inspired by that, I would love that, because everybody plays an important role on this earth, and you can make just as much of an impact as being a millionaire, as being a champion, as being just a regular guy in the gym. But just maximize who God meant for you to be. You know what I mean? Don't leave stuff on the table. That's hopefully what they can take from this conversation today.
I feel like this was a great episode. I really appreciate you coming on. Is there anything you want to shout out, or anything you want to say? I'll let you say whatever you want to say before we end it.
Man, short and sweet, man. Shout out to Team Takeover. That's everybody who rocks with me and supports me. We got a long ways to go, but we've come a long way as well. I'm really happy with our progress, but again, I mean, we're flipping the page. This weekend was amazing, but we're on to the next, and it's we're already back to work. We got back to training, so it's just want to say thank you to Team Takeover. You guys keep me going every single day.
Big thank you to Austin Clayton for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time and look forward to watching your career go and just the next step. I'm definitely going to be tuned in from here on out, and I hope this can tune in some more people and make them watch your career as you go on.
Thank you, bro. Yeah, we definitely got to get on for another one before the next fight, or
Oh,
maybe
yeah,
even after.
definitely. Definitely, man. I really appreciate it. This has been awesome. That's it for this episode of Beyond the Mats. Thank you for watching,
and tune in next time. Make sure to follow on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.